Hits Radio. Joy 99.7.
And Topstory is always brought to you by Bond, CIMG Savings and Loans Company of the Year. Gas and Cement, the nation builder. Vodafone, the future is exciting, ready. And Nationwide Medical Health Insurance, Best Health Insurance Company of the Year at the 2018 Ghana Insurance Awards. And its CEO awarded Woman of Excellence at the Ghana Insurance Awards. He is currently under investigations for allegedly inflating figures and dissipating taxpayers' resources on food and drinks for what he himself had described today as a big party. Managing Director of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Kwame Owusu, is accused of spending 10,600 cedis on lunch for 8 members of his management team and a further 135,000 cedis on a party for his staff, their girlfriends, partners, children, and wives. Now, the amounts were spent at a hotel owned by the Maritime Authority MD himself. In fact, he admitted to owning that hotel at his press briefing today. Yesterday, the Transport Ministry ordered the board of the Ghana Maritime Authority to probe the matter. Well, even before the board got underway to work today, the MD had called the press conference to respond to the allegations. Listen to him addressing the allegation surrounding the amount of money spent on that end-of-year party.
We would like to also respond.
Radio. Joy 99.7.
The authority having $135,000 cedis for
Super Hits Radio. Joy 99.7.
It is true. There was $115,000 of the cost of the food.
Super Hits Radio. Joy 99.7.
We'll tell you when management committee was set up. Some people have gone out of their way to state there were only 100.
Super Hits Radio. Joy 99.7.
Please. I would like to bring to your attention that we have 200
Super Hits Radio. Joy 99.7.
That there will be at least a partner, a child, a girlfriend, or a wife. That will make it 400. We also
Super Hits Radio. Joy 99.7.
Invitation of various stakeholders, ministers of state, ministries, MPs.
Super Hits Radio. Joy 99.7.
Other stakeholders. So we budgeted for additional 100. 500 people were
Super Hits Radio. Joy 99.7.
In any case, assuming the person who said he saw less than 100 people, which I think he ought to be ashamed of himself or herself.
Super Hits Radio. Joy 99.7.
And people show up or don't show up, that food is cooked and it ought to be charged. Including
Super Hits Radio. Joy 99.7.
Of decoration, tables and things, the music, the DJ.
Super Hits Radio. Joy 99.7.
Allocated for the person who was supposed to supply this to be able to make the the affair a very successful one.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Because since its inception, this is the only year that they've had end of year.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
And people wanted to make it big. It was there. And so I wanted you to understand.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Numbers to the benefit of the Director General when there's a committee that goes out to do procurement process.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Tell them, put money for me. Please. That is below the belt.
Well, there was another admission. He had been accused of spending 10,600 cedis plus on lunch for 8 members of his management team. He admits that he did that, but he says, well, that here too, he fed far more people than 8.
On the record and for the record, the amount of money and meetings that took place that is backed by our records in the file, that has all the things that is supported for those who want to come and see it. The original is here. And there is no 8 participants. So the person who gave or stole the documents was only doing it as a matter of mischief. And the most important thing that I would like to put across of you, the media, is that if nothing at all, it says that for the cost of food supply to authority during the management meetings and stakeholders meetings on maritime security fees and charges at the head office. I think any academician.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Okay, now a key question there. He says it's not 8 participants, but he did not tell us how many participants benefited from the 10,600 cedis that was spent on the lunch. He did not provide the figure that he says is far more than the 8 that he discounts. Well, he was also accused of, in fact, the amounts that we've mentioned so far, 10,600, 135,000 cedis, all on food, drinks, party, lunch, etc. All these amounts were spent in a hotel called Luxuit Hotel. He admits today that he, in fact, owns the hotel.
The most interesting to know, because the Director
Hits
General
Radio, Joy 99.7.
that he owns Luxuit Hotel. So when I see some of you going to the hotel, taking the picture of the
Super Hits Radio, 99.7.
Facebooks and whatever you may call them, is another journalistic mischief. Let us not bring people down.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Those people who want to stay or who want to challenge it, they can go on, but the records are here. The fact speaks for itself.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
A bill, I only minuted to.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Director of Finance. The Director of Finance is no longer with the authority.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
The gentleman who seemed to have the information, Mr. A+, extorting. We couldn't have manufactured.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
He says when GMA management struggles to alter a document.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Has resigned from the authority, whose signature you can see here. And Madam Rhoda
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Norway and myself, Kwame Usu, I was in the United Kingdom. So how could we
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7
and respond to this issue?
When he talks about the Director General, he was referring to himself there. and that he is not discounted the fact that, yes, he owns Luxus Hotel, but he says he simply minuted. In fact, he provided the evidence of the minute, and this was a memo that I have in my hand here that was provided at the other press briefing. And this memo is from, it says, to Director General himself from the Director Administration, and was requesting payment. And he says, "Sir, I humbly write to seek your authorization for a release of an amount of 10,600 to pay Luxus Hotel for the cost of food supply to the authority during the management meetings and stakeholder meetings on the maritime security fees and charges at the head office. Find attached invoice from Luxus Hotel submitted for your consideration and approval, please." His argument today at the press conference is he didn't originate this. Yes, I own the hotel. I did not originate this. I simply minuted on it. And the director of finance, who he says no longer works for the company, took over the process, and he was not even in the country. And so you cannot accuse him of conflict of interest. Well, but is that really the case? Let's speak to the head of the anti-graft body, the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Madam Linda Ofori-Kwafo, who joins us on the telephone line right now. You heard in the sound clip we just played that he also mentions the name of a very popular hip life artist, A+, who today he accuses of originating all these allegations against him. And he produces a detailed WhatsApp conversation that he alleges was from A+, that he says was simply to extort monies from him. We'll speak to A+ shortly when he joins us. But let's speak to Madam Linda Ofori-Kwafo, who joins us on the line right now. Madam Ofori-Kwafo, you just heard the Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority there. Let's start with the point he made that, yes, he has not denied that he owns the Luxus. But if you look at the processes, he simply minuted. He didn't originate the process to spend the monies and the parties and the lunch at this hotel. And so how can you hold him responsible for what has happened? What's your reaction to that?
Thank you very much, Evans, and good evening to your listeners. I must say that it depends on a number of factors. The man actually has admitted he owns the hotels. But then what does the conflict of interest guidelines we have in this country, what does Chapter 24 of the Constitution and the provision, I think 284 or so, that specifically deals with conflict of interest tell us? I think if you want to find out exactly whether he has actually acted in any manner that makes his own personal interest to override the interest of the organization, we should do a good analysis of what he has just presented to the public today. Obviously, he owns the hotel that provided the service. Under what procurement process was he using? Was he using sole sourcing? Was he using going for quotations? If going for quotations, he doesn't have a case because he didn't go for any quotations so far as we are concerned.
Radio Joy 99.7.
One that actually the current procurement act allows, I think under Section 12 or whatever, allows anybody to do under
Super Hits Radio Joy 99.7.
He not given the final approval, but then the board. And so it's also quite interesting that the ministry...
Super Hits Radio Joy 99.7.
It's actually saying the board approved. And if the board approved, then to an extent you can say the board actually ratified his action. So then why...
Super Hits Radio Joy 99.7.
I think we need to do further investigation analysis into the presentation that the man has made today, and it's likely all things are taken into consideration.
Super Hits Radio Joy 99.7.
Overriding that of the organization's interest.
And we heard today, and that second bit you touched on about the board looking into the investigating.
Super Hits Radio Joy 99.7.
The board today, from what I hear, began the probe just shortly after the press conference. You say that the board itself
Super Hits Radio
the appropriate
99.7
or means to prove this.
It depends. You see, when it comes to the Companies Act and the
Super Hits Radio Joy 99.7.
There is the need for us to know what the regulations of the company also says. Does the regulation actually allow for minority to take a decision in this
Super Hits Radio Joy 99.7.
But then if the man is implicating the board because the board ratified or approved my actions, then I think there is
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
This matter themselves and not allow a board that is being, we are being told, actually approved the decisions that he took.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
To actually more or less review their own actions by way of ratification, depending on what the regulations of the company say, then we cannot.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Or evaluating something that they themselves have ratified. So ideally, I think the ministry should do it themselves or ask any committee.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
At this stage of our country's democracy and development, when the Constitution has made provisions actually telling public officials.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
And then Shraj going further to give us guidelines of conflict of interest, because there is the possibility that if you are a public official and you are
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
one day to engage in things that will make your personal interest override that of the they give you a guidelines to help you. So
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
But then what do you know? And what are you supposed to do in case you find yourself in such a situation? I think the man should have got the quotations from other sources.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Or grace or whatever, then that consideration could have been made. But to go for only all the invoices from your own place and then saying I'm not the one who has
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
If the FD is actually bringing quotation from his book, who are you? The finance guy is obviously going to be lower than the MD. So sometimes
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
That can bring about such problems. For me, I think proper investigation should be conducted to the matter. Obviously, without doing any calculations or value for money.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
10,000 plus whatever for 8 people. He's actually also saying that the people are more than 8. You don't have 4 facts on these matters.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
As if you are about to disabuse information that is put out there, then you should have actually come.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
We need a proper investigation into the matter, and certainly I don't think, even without knowing the regulations of the company, I don't think the board.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
There's also the question about the propriety of spending all the monies we're talking about in excess of 140,000, CDs on food.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Had that sort of end of year party before, and so this people were excited, and so it's also the propriety in this current economy spending that kind of money.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
And the reason is that we might not know how many more public institutions would be engaging in these kinds
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
resources of this nature. I don't know, but then it is good once in a while to have a party for the people because of the hard work. We even know of organizations
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
motivate the staff members. But then is it the right use of public resources? The amount involved, I
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
of analysis, but the figures themselves out there, I think they are quite huge, and so we would need to know. And then
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Organization, but to other state institutions, and what kind of things happen.
So,
it's about time, getting to Christmas time, we should do
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
on parties with state reform.
Yeah, and so you want the Transport Ministry to probe this matter, not the board?
Oh yes.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
The executive director or managing director put out there today, I think he's one way or the other, or allegedly.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
They actually approved his spending, and then it actually means the board has ratified his decisions of
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
That's why I say I don't know what their company's regulation says, whether minority decisions covers everybody or whatever it is. Then if it's even with the
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
the Transport Ministry themselves going into this matter, proving this matter, and not the board.
I'm grateful that you joined us, Madam Linda, for a quaffle.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
And today at the press conference, the Director General laid blame squarely at the foot of one gentleman, A+, who is a very popular hip life artist. And this is what he said today about A+ at the press conference.
My lawyers have been given the necessary instructions, and when I leave you here, they are preparing documents so that we can bring in a charge against Mr. A+, the vigilante.
Okay. Now, he then provides what he claims to be evidence to support his claim that A+ did not only set this up, but then also used it to blackmail and also extort from him. And Joseph, he produced what? WhatsApp conversation.
Yeah, so he titles that extortion message from A+ to the Ghana Maritime Authority Director General captured by screenshots, and they are in two parts. The first part is saved in the name of one Susan Owusu. Looks like that's how he saves the name of the person who was sending him the messages. So it's a very tall one where the person begins a conversation, he doesn't respond, and then there's all the back and forth, and then it gets to the point when the individual sending the messages make the point that he knows that Mr. Owusu is trying to track down the number, but he or she, the person sending the messages, is an IT-inclined person, and he has encrypted all the messages. So he goes on to say that the memos on the renovation phases, I've encrypted all of them for security reasons, and I'll never give it to the people who are asking for it. The fellow writes, your enemies brought them to me, but they didn't know I knew you, so I locked all of them.
So this is in reference to documents this individual claims to have about these dealings we've just talked about.
And then issues about renovation in the office, including some work on air conditions and all. And then the individual goes on to claim that he has details on his passport, the 1947 passport, which has a passport number, then he lists it. And then
he denies that today at the press conference as well, that
yes.
he doesn't have anything like that.
And so the conversation continued, and then it got on to the point having to do with the company, the luxury suits. So that portion, the fellow wrote, I just bought this SIM card at the roadside, and so you can't track it. Then he goes on to say, the girl who sold it to me sold it without even checking, because she is unable to buy food when you use 135,125 cedis of the taxpayers' cash for a party with your own, company. Then he goes on to list on those. And then at a point in time, he also claimed that the communication changed to a separate number, whose number then he goes on to save as extortionist.
Okay.
And extortionist. And then that's where he claimed that there was the demand on him for various issues, including a claim that the fellow wrote allegedly that you were asking about what I want, so you don't know what I want. Wow, I want you to be fired, just as it happens to everybody, or you negotiate. Okay,
so that's the person's response to Mr. Owusu asking what the person wanted. The person says, I want you fired. So the person we don't have any evidence, at least from what he produced, that the person was asking for money.
No, but the other bit was that the person wrote, you being fired or you negotiate. That was the second part of the message. And then the fellow goes on to say, I will definitely talk to you. I told you I'm harmless. And that's once they have a conversation, then all of this can go out.
Okay, let's speak to A+. He's on the line with us. Hello, Mr. A+, thank you for your time here on Topstory. Is that you, by the way, that we just read out sending WhatsApp messages to Mr. Owusu?
Evans, good evening to you and your listeners. Mr. Owusu, I don't know him. In fact, I have not said anything about Mr. Owusu. I don't have his number. It was Saturday when I was coming from Kufodia that Honorable Kennedy Japon called me and said, oh, don't you know that Kwame Owusu is my friend? And I asked him,
99.7.
Who is Kwame Owusu? And he said, the Ghana Maritime boss. I said, oh, I'm dealing with the issue. I don't even know the individuals involved, but I'm dealing
Super Hits Radio, Joy
90 government money. So I don't even know. He said, oh, he's my friend, he's so and so and so, but I'll present you the facts of the matter. I said, okay, bring me the facts. If they are what you are saying there, then we will go out there. I don't have a problem coming out and telling everybody that, no, these are the facts of the matter. In fact, they didn't do this, they did this, they didn't do that. But you see, just to distort and create an impression that somebody who is going to extort money from somebody and says that I bought the SIM card from the roadside. They have set up their own. I'm sure he was WhatsApping himself. That man, he was WhatsApping himself. Took one phone, WhatsApp the other one. I bought the SIM card from the roadside, and the one girl who sold it to me. Look, I'm not a kid, and the people who are listening to JoyFM are not children.
He says he'll sue you. He's asked his lawyers to begin the process.
He's going to sue me.
Yes.
Nobody advised him. He doesn't know how many people have sued me in this Ghana. Even this year alone, he doesn't know how many people have sued me that me. I've never seen a judge. He should go and sue. What is stopping him? If somebody is sending you messages with a SIM, he knows that he can't go to the police. So he comes and say the person said that he bought it from the roadside and whatever. And then if you know that somebody is sending you messages, threatening, extortion, whatever, go to the police. This is 2018. Don't let these politicians think that Ghanaians are stupid. This is 2018. Go to the police. They will get the network to give you whoever registered the SIM card and their details and whatever. I began this way back in 2000. When I did my first song. If I want money, I'll go and WhatsApp the person and say, and I bought this SIM card from the roadside. That man, can he give me money?
Yeah, okay.
I wish you had him on the
Have you? Okay, thankfully, he just joined us on the line. That's Mr. Kwame Owusu-Hezi. He is a Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority. Hopefully, we'll get to speak to him. But let me stay with you, A+. Did you at any time reach out to him? We have him on the line. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Hello, Mr. A+. Mr. A+, just hold on for me briefly.
I won't even
yes, Mr. Owusu. Hello, Mr. Owusu.
It's okay.
Hello, Mr. Owusu. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much for joining us here on Topstory. Thank you for joining us on Topstory. So tell me, you mentioned today in your press conference that you were going to sue A+. I'm just curious, what has he done? He says he's not done anything to you. He doesn't know your number. He's never been in touch with you. Why you want to sue him?
Well, I want to limit myself to a simple question. If he says he has the fact, if he doesn't work here, if there's an alteration on the document, and after it has been put out by the management, came and said, oh, after they struggled to do so on his Facebook. If all the things, you yourself must read the script, whether you say he was, this is not something that it is purely something that has been taken of a screenshot. And I do things to myself, and I go to the public and put all the information that I wanted to charge myself with. Academically, does it make sense? Mr. Whatever he is. He has been doing this for so many times. But how many assemblies were there against the people he was singing against?
Mr. Owusu,
I don't want to deal with this because, look, even you are sitting down saying that I deny this, I didn't produce, the woman said I didn't produce the procurement. The worst issue was not a procurement issue. The issue of whether or not I have interest in the hotel. But whether procurement... But you have
interest in the hotel.
I want to limit myself. All I'm saying is that I have, and it has appeared that in Ghana, when you try to put things out to destroy people, he seemed to be confident that nobody has sued me and has been able to go to a court. A statement to ridicule our system that he can just continue to say this.
Mr. Owusu,
you ask yourself, please, and before I let you, somebody who doesn't work here, puts out information, doctor information. When it was responded, we have the original documents here. And people are saying we did not provide evidence. And he's working out saying that, oh, after they struggle to doctor the information, alter it, they did not say whether the man owns the hotel or not. It's not in question.
Okay. That is where children. I need you to clarify. I need you to clarify for me, Mr. Owusu.
I just want
Mr. Owusu, we'll deal with the issues that...
You don't want me to speak and give you the story?
No, I want you to speak.
I'm saying that who will just go and on himself send a message to himself that, oh, I'm going to publish this, I'm going to publish food, and he's saying this. No, and you can't even question him that. Who would just go and put his own things that is against him and encrypt it?
So the question is, I hear what you're saying.
I don't want to engage him on this.
No problem, but I hear what you're saying.
He doesn't have to say that when Kennedy, whether he knows me or not. You don't have to know me.
Okay.
Ask the man.
How did you know
information which is appearing?
No. Okay. So you You claim he has information, but you also move a further step to say that he is the man behind all the allegations. How did you know that?
My brother, if somebody come and said that I am going to break your car tank, and in the next 1 hour, a car tank is broken, your suspect, is that going to be a man who doesn't say anything?
So did A Plus call you?
Information which is being discussed extensively on this over a 2-3 month period.
So you assume that it's him.
Reported to the police already.
So you assume that it's him behind this. I mean, because he seemed to have information.
Who seem not to work in Ghana Maritime Authority, that seem to have a document which has been doctored at all levels. I don't need to try to explain. It's doctored, and then even the same message was sent to Public Service Commission, which had no 8 people written. And if that man says he has it, and if that man put this on his platform, or you don't know, that man have more on him on his passport, and you, my brother, you read the script and go on. If you have a suspect in the whole Ghana of 25 million, who are you going to suspect?
Okay,
I get what you. I have put it to him. It's up to him to say, to probe the right question. If you are not the person who is saying this, where did you get the information and why? And then it will put the question instead of putting media. If I say something is not there, it's up to you to prove it's there. I've just said.
And you can bet. And you can bet.
People buy things and doctor it. They go on and buy street. But why would I, in his own academic submission, that I bought it and sent the message to myself?
And Mr. Usu, you can bet.
Would you do that yourself?
You can bet that we'll put these questions to him. But I need to ask you. You say, as far as a hotel is concerned, you have an interest in the hotel. If you do, why would you spend? Why would you spend in the same hotel you own? You have an interest.
I have already given your people the information that I own the hotel. There was no question as to whether the people or the administration people. And then I saw the woman say, "Who is the boss?"
But you spend. You own a hotel.
If you have 65 people in a meeting of stakeholders. And is he gonna sit down there doing arithmetic without even knowing the fact?
No, but my question is not. My question is not about arithmetic. Mr. Usu, you want to answer this question because it's absolutely important.
Then we condone them. Look at the
your accusation is that you are in conflict of interest. Mr. Usu, if you listen to me, you are having a monologue, Mr. Usu.
10 hours a day to talk about it, and he's so confident that no court has been able to tackle him.
So let's address
the music. He probably went to sell it to them and he didn't buy it.
Mr. Osu, you own.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Osu, ask a question. If you don't want to answer, my question to you, you are in conflict of interest situation because you own a hotel in which you spend monies in from the taxpayers' funds. Well, he's dropped the line there. He doesn't want to address the fundamental questions. And there are a lot of fundamental questions. One of the key fundamental questions is the fact that he admits he owns the hotel, and that same hotel was the place where they spent in excess of 145,000 CDs, which has now been questioned. And you listened to the GII executive director raise a conflict of interest question. As far as that is concerned, he doesn't want to address that. He simply wants to deal with the A+ suspicion. There's also the fundamental question that, again, needs to be raised. The propriety of spending that amount of money on parties and food. He says, in his justification at the press conference, that in essence, it has never happened at the Maritime Authority before and he needed to do it for staff, their girlfriend, their wives, etc. He didn't want to address that. He wants to address A+. A+ is still with us on the line. A+, we just heard Mr. Usu say that you produce these claims on your Facebook page, and he says because you did that, you don't work at Maritime Authority, and this has indeed become a big matter in the media. You must be behind it. Are you not behind it? If you're not, where did you get that information from to reproduce on your Facebook page?
Evans, I'm not going to disclose my source, but tell him that he went and gave that his so-called chat that he said between me and him to that person that put it in that communication, MPP, whatever WhatsApp group. when they were discussing that top hierarchy WhatsApp group, when we were discussing it, I was getting information. We are not kids in this country. You see, tell Mr. Usu that he shouldn't ever sit down and think that because we walked in the sun and rain and voted for them,